Right, good morning everyone. We're gonna kick things off and get underway. We can see a really good amount of people attending. So first of all, thanks very much for those that have joined so far. Appreciate you taking an hour out of your day. I appreciate that's a big ask. So we're going to keep this fairly short and snappy. But really, the idea is today is to give you to hopefully whet your appetite of what the capabilities are. This is the fifth webinar in a series of events as part of Axonex Supercharge program. And just a very quick recap on that program and what it stands for. It's a free program of IT events, thought leadership, webinars, resources and workshops, ultimately to help your business with digital transformation. So by way of introduction, for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Les Ellery. I'm the collaboration practice lead here at Axonex. I sit between sales and technical teams and have a focus on helping you. Today's program has a very specific focus on collaboration, and we're delving into how it can transform and modernise the workplace. So first of all, I'm just going to start just to talk about some workplace trends. I've got a slide up here from Cisco, but also to give you a little bit of personal input from my perspective. So when I walk into a customer's office, it's not uncommon for me to see a real range of collaboration tools. So this could be a mix of segmented business applications. So I'll often see people in certain parts of a business using one tool and other departments using something else, or it could even be a consumer communication tool such as WhatsApp, where a certain demographic of users have just taken it upon themselves to start using this as a method of communicating. So what is clear from what I've seen and experienced to date working with customers and in collaboration is that without a standard platform for communicating, true company-wide teamwork continues to be a real challenge. So when I work with customers to implement quality collaboration tools that are simplified and easy to use, people start to work better together. We see that without a doubt. So we know that rarely do people excel alone. Joined up teamworking definitely creates a platform for success. So really, I've got quite a good question, really, I guess, currently in where we are today. What does the modern workplace look like? So really, I guess the answer to that is the answer is the modern workplace today often isn't a place at all. So we need to think about adopting a well-organised space where all the project documentation and communication lives. For example, your development team may reside in one country, markets team in another, and customers could reside somewhere else entirely. So it will really help your business if your documents, processes and schedules all live under the same roof. So I think the foundation to all of this, really, I think regardless of where you are with your current collaboration strategy, really is a flexible plan. So Cisco has something called the Flex Plan, and I truly believe that underpins your collaboration investment regardless of your current strategy, and it provides three really clear business benefits. So just a quick run through those. So it simplifies purchasing, so it gives you the ability to wrap meetings, messaging and calling capabilities all in one to offer us a single simplified purchasing process and combine all of your contracts in one. It allows you to streamline your budget, so it provides a lower entry point and a predictable ongoing budget. You don't need to pay up front for the entire offer. Plus, Axonex and Cisco can work together, and we can offer you a trade-in value for your existing investment in traditional on-premise perpetual UC licenses, and we can also extract some of the residual value of the existing SWSS contract as well, and that goes in a credit against the Flex Plan. The final thing, and probably the most important from a strategic perspective, is it enhances your flexibility. So it allows you to mix and match on-premise and cloud services, and there's no change to the per user price. So you could be completely on-premise now, but that price will remain the same as you move towards a hosted solution. So today we're going to hear and see how the Cisco collaboration portfolio can provide a platform for your business communication, not only during a meeting, but as a continuous workspace before, during and after. a platform that integrates with your business applications, a platform that still allows you to access your Microsoft Office 365 documents, for example, a platform that provides a standard interface regardless of the device you're using, from Pocket all the way through to Boardroom, that is secure with a wide range of endpoints to suit your budget. Endpoints, as we'll learn today from Andy's slides, are so incredibly powerful that really referring to them as a video endpoint is really selling them very short, and we'll see that. And yet they remain, so simplified and easy to use. So simplification, on that note, of simplification and ease of use, really that's a common theme you're going to see today throughout the Cisco collaboration strategy. Today we'll learn what powerful and industry-leading features are available and how these will help your business. So we're talking about features that aren't due to arrive in 6 to 12 months, but are here with us today. So what that allows us to do, the technology and the flex plan that underpins this, is that we can provide you with a solution regardless of whether that remains firmly on-premise, whether that needs to be a hybrid, so where you've made the investment in Cisco calling platform and you wish to mix that with some additional cloud meeting capabilities, or whether that strategy is fully hosted, a true cloud migration. So I guess at this point I'm going to pose the question, what is the future of how we meet? And with that I'm going to hand you over to Andy Williams to talk us through what this looks like, if that's okay with Andy. So by way of more of a formal introduction, for anyone who doesn't know Andy or has never met him, he is the head of Cisco Collaboration Sales for the UK and Ireland, and aligns to Axonex, I guess really through our mutual passion and Axonex's continued commitment to Cisco collaboration. So if it's okay, Andy, is it okay hand over the ball to you at this point?
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you very much, Les. Thanks, Richard, and thanks for the opportunity today. I've just noticed there's one question where Jonathan's saying that he's not able to hear anything, so I don't know if that's been fixed and you can hear us, Jonathan, but I just noticed that came in on the space. So without further ado, I will just share some slides. So we've got 30 minutes or so, and there's a lot to cover. Just where Cisco have been within collaboration, if that's what we call it today, or workplace, there's a number of different ways that Cisco are attacking the marketplace or are trying to help our customers as they remodel and digitize their business. And one of the trends that we are seeing really is, instead of just being focused on the application, is what is the greater impact that collaboration, productivity, agility and work styles are having, which makes it a much larger opportunity, but also a more complex thing to solve when we look at actually how people work. So if we be quite bold as Cisco, I think we're uniquely placed within the market when it comes to looking at the workplace for individuals. It's interesting, the other day I saw a blog on LinkedIn where somebody was saying about remote working and flexible working, and one of the comments that was posted was actually, I don't believe there is a place where you work. Work is part of my life and I just now get it done and I build it into my daily schedule. And I think with the millennials that are now coming on board, it's one of the key things that we have to do. And from Cisco's standpoint, where we've got market-leading technology from a collaboration standpoint, but it's also the connectivity from a networking element, the security, and the platforms and applications that actually enable people to connect from, whether it be a coffee shop or a boardroom, whether they're sat on the beach in a foreign country, and how we make it simple for people to engage. I think that's why Cisco are very uniquely positioned, and working with our partners, we can deliver some amazing solutions as your businesses transform. So just by way of a quick agenda, what I'm looking to cover over the next sort of 25 minutes, and if there are questions, I'm more than happy to take them as we go through, or we can keep them to the end. It's just really show and go into a bit more detail about what we're seeing around the marketplace itself. So when we're engaging with customers at all levels of the spectrum across all segments, what are the key trends that we're seeing and what's driving our R&D to really supply solutions that meet your business needs moving forward? And then really a vision update and where we are from a strategic position around Cisco with a collaboration and workplace lens. So obviously you've been working with Axonex over a number of years where you might have bought on-premise equipment, and what does that mean for your business now? Is that fit for purpose? And we'll go into the way that Cisco are moving that through our strategy and our roadmap to see how that links to future requirements and opportunities, but also around Webex as a platform and really how we've moved away from Webex being this application that we're all using today to deliver this meeting, but really how Webex has grown. There's a number of different technologies which have been integrated together to really build a seamless and frictionless platform for people to communicate and work from. So where we're really being driven, and obviously our R&D teams look very closely at the analysts within the market and ensuring that we're designing products which suit future requirements. But it's really what you'll see from our technology, and Les mentioned it in the early elements of the conversation. Customer experience is becoming very critical for yourselves as consumers of technology and your customers on how you service them. So when we look at even a company like McDonald's, as much as we shouldn't go there from a health standpoint, but potentially, but when you now go in and you've got the touch screen in front of you, they've actually changed their pricing model and are far more profitable by giving the customer far more choice around how they select their options. And that whole transition in the market within their marketplace has increased their bottom line, and that's all around customer experience. Within our collaboration portfolio that I cover, we do have a contact center element, and we'll come on to touch on how we're really focused around customer contact all the way through from whether it be a digital journey through your website as an organization or whether it's a direct contact with one of your individuals. We're really putting the experience of the user and of your customer as one of our top priorities. And then AI and machine learning, we went out and acquired a company, and we've also acquired a company called MindMeld to really begin to drive value from what artificial intelligence and machine learning can do for our daily working lives. How do we automate? How do we increase agility? And one of the CEO's top agendas is how do we increase speed? So using artificial intelligence as part of our everyday working practice to really drive that. And that's where Forbes is saying that 50% of our professionals believing that. And the adoption is truly growing. So 67% by 2020. Nearly every conversation I have, whether it's from an owner of a contact center or customer experience department, all the way through to agile development teams, is all about how can we automate and how can we use AI to actually drive business outcomes and basically business advantage. So these are two of the key real factors that we'll talk through today on how that's evolving our technology and how we're trying to build those into all the platforms that we deliver. So just by way of trying to keep on the supercharged theme, and you'll tend to see that as we go through the slides today, because I am a bit of a car fan myself. But the world has changed massively. So back in 1998, if you had a young daughter who was like 17 years of age, you'd say, right, don't go and get in a car with a stranger. Be careful who you're chatting to on the internet. And I know I do that with my young family at home, is how do you lock down and understand who they're playing games with across the Xbox and 360 Live, etc. But then when you look at how businesses have changed, we get Uber, which is where we engage with strangers every day via the internet through a digital experience, which is all about simplicity and how we can make lives easier for ourselves. And these models have changed, and we've seen businesses come and go, and we'll see other businesses that need to evolve. But we need to evolve the way that we work, the way that we engage in order to do this. So the things that we're really driving from a higher level workplace transformation are driven by these 3 points. So it's employee productivity, retention in talent, and really optimizing real estate, which comes down to a significant monetary and OPEX cost. So from a productivity perspective, if you look at many organizations, they're being squeezed especially with the likes of Brexit and how we move maybe offshore certain parts of our business. How do we keep that engagement? And many of our teams are virtual. Within Cisco, there's a percentage of 50-odd% of the management don't work within the same country as their employees. So I know we're a large global organization, but again, we still work in different areas. We can't always have face-to-face contact every day without the use of productivity tools. But we want to still engage and have that personal and trusted relationship, both with our people internally within the organization, but also with our customers. But then how do we attract talent? And I think this is one of the key ones now, is how do you become the company within your segment that attracts the best people to remain competitive within the market and really drive your business forward? And Les mentioned in the first slide about the generation of millennials and Generation Z and all of the acronyms, but they do come in, and I've interviewed people in the past that have really asked, do I get a tablet? Do I get to use my own phone? How do I bring my own device? What's my working week? Can I work from anywhere in the UK because I have family here, there, and everywhere? It seems to come that their lifestyle and well-being is at the forefront. So how do we provide the tools that the next generation of talent really expect? And a lot of that can be around API development, open platforms, how they can bespoke the working life to themselves. And this is becoming more and more critical. And then optimization, whether that be simplification of products, simplification of use, but also simplification of how we maximize our investments in real estate. If any of you have got offices in London, it's actually the second most expensive place per square foot globally at the moment. So by reducing office space within the capital, we can significantly reduce your bottom line cost as an organization, and we can use technology to really help analyze how you use your buildings today and how you can make them the most effective they possibly can be while still delivering the best experience moving forward. So an example of this is by building different areas. And what you'll see as we go through today, it sort of starts very high level with Workplace as a concept. And again, from a budget and buying cycle for us at Cisco, it's not normally the people we'd tend to speak to. So facilities managers, could be head of HR. There's a lot more budget holders, but also decision makers across different areas of the business, where Cisco may have been more within the IT and networking function of an organization. But we need to go out and engage with different lines of business and different stakeholders to make sure we're delivering what they need. And the outcome of what we're really seeing is there's different spaces created within some of the new office buildings, which bring the teams together like a social area, whether it be an e-cafe, whether there be games tables. There's specific business rooms, so whether that be the boardroom or specific meeting rooms that are still there, but they're beginning to reduce in size. The large rooms that we used to always build out, we're seeing a significant decline within there, and we're building more small huddle space areas for groups of maybe 5 or 6 that just have scrum meetings or development meetings or ad hoc spaces where people can go, and it's not quite as formal as it would have been a couple of years ago. Things like e-learning environments, whether that be broadcast in a room or across a much broader UK or international event, then that's also another business driver. And how do we accommodate people's training is always a key one within business. And then also concentrated spaces. So there are people that just want to get down and get their work done. And when you speak to a lot of organizations now, some of that can be within the office, but many of that can be done at home with the technology and much better connectivity that we have now pretty much across the whole of the UK. So concentrating spaces, which is quiet, and people can just get on with their work. So how do we build solutions and accommodate these different requirements for our businesses moving forward? But why do we do it? And I touched on this earlier on. By really looking at the workplace as a whole for transformation, we can really reduce significant costs from your bottom line of the business. This is an example from Cisco, and I appreciate we are a massive organization. But what we effectively were able to do is, over a 3-year period, we actually reduced 50% of our facilities budget off our bottom line. So that equates to around $600 million in total. And that was really by using technology and the analytics that we can drive from our technology today to measure if we were deploying the technology correctly, how the technology was used, but also the impact that it had across our attendees and employees, both internal and external. So a 26% reduction in real estate. We were able to sell off a lot of buildings, which obviously led to a revenue stream. But the key one is around annual OPEX savings and reduction of leased buildings, reduction of leased floors within buildings, but also an increase in workforce. So during this time of a huge consolidation of real estate across our business, we can still grow our employee accounts, whether that be via acquisition or just through growth of different areas of the business. So transformation is really key, and it'd be interesting to understand, and maybe conversations with Les and the Axonex team in future, whether this is how you've addressed some of the collaboration discussions within your enterprise, or whether you're still looking at it more from a technology perspective. So that was sort of an introduction of how we at Cisco are going to sort of pivot around collaboration and start to look at a more holistic view with yourselves as customers and try and really help you reduce cost. But as Les touched on earlier on, there is a huge amount going on within the products themselves, whether they be video, Webex, or our contact center. So I was just going to use the next 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go through some of the innovation. And this week is Cisco Live. So everything changes on a daily basis. It's over in San Diego at the moment, and I've tried to update the slide deck as real time as possible. But I will forward on to Les and the team a number of links about new blogs that have come out this week, new marketing collateral, and some announcements that have really are driving our next wave of engagement. And cognitive collaboration is really where we're focused, which is really bringing the AI, the analytics, big data models into the way that we work. So I'll go on and touch on that now. So Cisco's been in the market for a long period of time, so over 20 years, and we began to get into the market around voice over IP and bringing in the IP PBX. So we've had a great legacy, and we've managed to transition markets since 2000. But where do we go now? So for those that are able to see the slides that we're showing, is really the key transformation that we're seeing now is as your business is moving to cloud-based services, to subscription models, how do we begin to do that with our collaboration technologies, which traditionally would have been on-premise, would have been managed by yourselves from an operational standpoint, but weren't maybe as agile as what some of the business applications and requirements are today across your organization, and probably weren't as integrated into some of the business workflows and the business asks that we're getting from lines of business as well. So whether that be in retail, whether that be in manufacturing, how do we begin to get collaboration embedded into the workflow? And that's really critical. So as we've moved forward, bring your own device, SaaS with Jabba around 2005, more messaging software. We then focused on user experience and team collaboration around 2015. So for those that remember the launch of Spark, we were a bit before our time, I think. We brought Spark to the market, and I don't think the market was quite ready for it. But as we now get into 2019, Spark and the branding have now evolved, but the platform has had a huge investment into it of how we brought what was Spark into Webex. But then we've now extended Webex right out as far as our contact center solutions to really deliver a single platform across any function of collaboration. And then how do we build video into that? But as we've made that transition from 2015 really into now, more and more of that workload is becoming cloud connected in order to give you an easier way to engage, a lower operational cost, simpler pricing models, but also to allow features to be delivered faster and quicker to your business, but also to have API-based engagements where you can integrate collaboration into Salesforce, into ServiceNow, into other critical applications across your business to drive even more value. But one of our differentiators, and really what's come from our acquisition from Amy Chang's business, is around building AI technology into all of these technologies that we move forward. The other key part of the area which has really driven some momentum at the moment is from a calling perspective and how we move to cloud. And in the UK, if I'm honest, we acquired BroadSoft 12 months ago as we saw this was beginning to come. But I think many businesses now are really beginning to ramp this. And the stats from Gartner are around 75% of organizations within the next 12 months will have a cloud strategy for calling. So how am I going to move my on-premise or hosted call solution to a cloud solution in the future? And up to 90% of IT leaders won't purchase any more on-premise unified communications technology. And where we're seeing that drive from customers is more around data center closure. It's more around, again, are they trying to consolidate office premises from a cost perspective? But also it's around integration into other services or bringing more technology into a single distribution model that can be used across their business from a commercials and procurement perspective. So the market now around cloud calling is really heating up. In the UK, we're beginning to really see this uptick. And we launched Webex Calling on May the 16th at UC Expo, and the engagement since then has been fairly sort of tremendous. It's a lot of customers have a lot of questions, and we won't have time to dig into all the features and functions of Webex Calling today, and I welcome you to engage with Les and the Axonex team to see if it would be a correct solution for yourselves moving forward if you're beginning to look at that cloud migration path. So I know there is a Q&A panel on the Webex, so I just thought I'd try and get back to the supercharged theme, even though Tesla doesn't have a supercharger. And being a fan of petrol myself, it's a bit of a shame that we're all going electric, but it's good for the planet. But does anyone have any clues on where we are with and the commonalities between a company such as Tesla and actually where Cisco are from an endpoint solution that we deliver? So video endpoints, whether they be personal or telepresence endpoints. Would anybody have a clue to that engagement? Any takers? No? Well, the interesting thing is the GPUs and graphics processing units that are in a Tesla, we actually build in now to all of our endpoints. So as we move to driverless cars and the smarts that are needed to do real-time telemetry analytics from cars such as Tesla, and not only Tesla, the same technology we are now embedding within our collaboration endpoint units. So where we would just typically see them as video endpoints, so we could do a telepresence call, we can get far more value from our endpoints and our workplace devices today. So a few of them I'll touch on. And these are fully available to now and they're already shipping. So, for example, we have AI functionality where you can talk to the endpoint and it will recognize you both from a facial recognition perspective and it will ask you if you'd like to open your meeting. So there are no touch points within the meeting itself. So if I walk into a room in our Bedfont Lakes office and I've pre-planned the meeting, the endpoint will recognize me from an AI and facial recognition perspective. It will then check the calendar. It will see if I have a meeting ready. And if it will say, Andrew, would you like your meeting to start? Okay, Webex, join my meeting. The meeting will join. So the time getting into the meeting is significantly reduced, and that intelligence is built in. We've now begun to release transcription services. This is becoming more and more key for insurance and financials as more meetings are done via video. How can we embed transcription services for our post meetings so they can be reviewed and they can also be analyzed from a governance and audit perspective? And then we've got things like Webex Assistant. So as part of getting into your meeting, it can also, as we move forward, what it will do, if we're talking about a subject within that meeting, it could potentially go out to via the AI search engines, actually bring documents into the meeting for you. So if you were to look at an organization's annual report, and it'd say, right, I'll go and collect that document for you and bring that into the meeting. So that when we're going to evolve these technologies is to bring more and more value, rather than the people that are having the meetings, they have to go out and do that manually for themselves. A few other things. So I'm at home today due to the accident that we had, and we've actually built into Webex now some noise suppression. So there's nothing more frustrating than when you're on a meeting and you hear people tapping away on keyboards. And we've actually modeled dog barks and also key tapping. So it will proactively go out to the user if there's a noise at their end which could be disturbing other people within the meeting, and actually say to them, can you please press mute, or can you actually take out that dog bark will be removed from the background noise of the meeting. And so these are all things that we're adding from a value perspective to make meetings more seamless and frictionless than some of the calls could have been over the last couple of years. We've had points in there for a long time, whether that be speaker tracking, which is intelligently framing the person that is speaking so they're front and center on the screen. But one of the key things that I'll go on today, which is a new element, and if you've got sales and marketing functions, or if you do intercompany engagement, so it's great for HR as well, is a thing called People Insights. So what this does is, and it can be turned off, so I will put that out there today. So it's got real-time profiles for up to 250 million people and over 20 million companies. So when you've got an engagement with maybe a new company, a new person within your organization, you tend to go in and do your research if you've got time. But what People Insights will actually do is, in the Webex host bar, there will come up a little individual toggle, and you can actually click on that toggle, and what that will do is it will use software to go out and search the web for public available content on that individual. So it won't go into Facebook accounts or anything that is a login based account, but say if you've written blogs, if you've posted content in the web, or even your internal hierarchy, it can actually give that detail as part of the meeting. So to build a rapport with somebody over a very brief meeting, the data is actually provided to you as a consumer of that meeting. So you can understand, maybe you've got relationships in common, maybe you've worked for the same boss, for example, and just to really build that trust and make the meeting more pleasant. So People Insights is going to be launched in the next couple of weeks. It's currently out in the US. We do have a few GDPR ticks to get through in EMEA. But again, it's really adding some additional value into the meeting that we've had, or the meeting experience that we've had today. And again, trying to put this into real-time business cases, we've actually embedded Webex now into Ford. So Ford are working very closely with us. They do something like 300,000 meetings a month across their global enterprise. One of those is they've now asked us to embed Webex as part of their car, which will then allow you to have safer journeys, but also due to people traveling around, it keeps their productivity up. So we are seeing more and more use cases of where the Webex platform is being built into technology directly. So another use case for that would be in the utility sector, where critical incidents may arise. So how can, if you're a utilities company and you get a critical outage, how do you assemble the correct people at any one time to get onto that problem and make sure we resolve that problem in a timely manner with minimal impact to the business? We're working with organizations by using Webex as a platform and IoT devices which will come in directly into Webex, and then knowing if that is an issue, we can then go and assemble the correct team, which will be put into a Webex space. They can then jump onto either a video call or a messaging call, maybe if it's the weekend, and we can resolve the incident far quicker than we could previously. Also, things where we're working with IoT endpoints going into Webex could be things like temperature gauges. So if you're a retailer and you've got a number of fridges, or you're a meat factory, for example, with that meat fridge temperature dropping only a few percent can have a massive impact on your stock levels. So the warning from the temperature sensors of the refrigeration units coming into a maintenance space, assembling the correct people, ensuring that somebody is taking an action on that incident, is really where we're beginning to embed Webex into the process flow. And I'll come on to touch about that in a few more minutes. Because really what I'm trying to say today is I don't believe, if I'm being really honest, it'd be lovely that everyone buys all of their technology and solutions from a single place. And we have to integrate and make sure the technology works seamlessly, both from a hardware, a software perspective, and they integrate and make it as cost efficient as possible for your business. So whether you're a G Suite user or a Microsoft user, how do we ensure that collaboration is embedded into those technologies and you get the best of possible opportunities for your employees to be productive? So with that, all of our APIs within Webex are open, and one of the key things that we come across today is, oh, well, we're looking at Microsoft, we're moving to Office 365. Will Cisco collaboration work with 365? So one thing that has just come out of Cisco Live this week is we've just released 4 blogs on how we've rolled out Office 365 plus Cisco collaboration to deliver the best productivity performance for our employees across Cisco, and how we integrate and some of the work that needed to be done to make that happen. But where we are today is what we believe is for a human collaboration standpoint, so a voice, a messaging, a video meeting, we have the #1 platform on the market. From a document collaboration standpoint, Microsoft are by far the leading player within that marketplace. We do have Google and some of the other guys which are now beginning to get into that space, but we have to be open on how we integrate Webex into those document platforms. And we also have to be able to embed security as well. So we've got 33 integration points into Microsoft today. So for example, if you are running our Webex Teams application, we can embed SharePoint and OneDrive, so you can live edit documents together and have a seamless work experience. And the one key differentiator that's here within Webex Teams, we have a single surface whether you're an internal communicator or an external communicator. So if you're communicating with one of your peers internally, or whether you're working with one of your partners or one of your supply chain, you can have everybody there within the same team. One of the key things that happens, though, within the way that we built our security policies around Webex is the company that owns the content or posts any content, it still has ownership's right to that. So, for example, if I was a car manufacturing company and I, by accident, posted the next best drawings of our next model out externally to one of our supply chain vendors by accident, I could then reach back out into that space and delete that content away. So our policy as an organization is applied whether it's internal or external communication. Many of the other team platforms that are out there today aren't able to do that, so that's a really core differentiator for Cisco if you're looking at Teams-based platforms or new collaboration tools on how the security policies work, because we've really drilled down and focused on that to ensure security is a #1 factor. So if we bring a Word document together, we can actually embed Webex Teams within Word. So if you've got a team of people that are doing an RFI, an RFP, responding to a customer proposal, you can all jointly collaborate in the same window. And I think that's one of the key things is how can we stop people having to continually go to and from different applications? How can we work as much as possible from a single pane of glass and a single application as we move forward? But then if you are a Microsoft Teams user, and many organizations are, we can actually embed Webex into Microsoft Teams as well. So we actually embed the meeting experience, and you can choose the green button, one click for simplicity, straight out of Microsoft Teams into the meeting that you have today. So if you are on the Office 365 journey, there should be no impact to the way that you meet and collaborate across your businesses today, as we've worked really hard to make sure that the integrations are there and as seamless as possible. So if we have any G Suite customers, we can do exactly the same for G Suite. And then for anybody who is an iOS phone user, and I'll just try and show people on the Webex if they're watching the video. Hold on 1 second, just need to find one. Here we go. So if you can see this here, we have a little red button. So there's a little red toggle. So by setting up a Webex meeting, we actually have a single button to click. from iOS because it goes straight into your calendar and you can click that red button. You don't have to go and embed another application or anything. So we've worked really hard to try and make these as seamless as possible for you. The other thing just to be, if you are sort of looking at different collaboration tools on how we compare and contrast to other solutions, I'm more than happy to share these slides. When you look at the overall cost, and it was an interesting comment somebody made the other day that you could buy the entire Cisco collaboration suite for less than a Starbucks every day for each user. But we've actually done an exercise, whereas if you buy the E3 license, which is the Office 365 license from Microsoft, but then the Cisco collaboration suite with our security software, it would actually cost in at a lower price point than a Microsoft E5 license as well. So it's definitely worth looking at the market and seeing what experience would be best for your employees and for your partners. So you've gone out to the market, you've got the best endpoints, and I just wanted to put up here, there's a number of different ways that we can communicate. So depending on where you are today, whether I'm working remotely or whether I'm in a boardroom, we do now have a very broad array of endpoints which reach all the way from a personal user. So whether that be a DX80, which is just a desk-based video unit, we have these as maybe remote assistants. So if you've got specialists within your business that can't be everywhere at once, we have customers that have put DX80s in different offices so they can remote into different areas without having to go and employ additional staff into each of those branches, for example. And that works really well. We've got the Webex board, which we've now increased in size up to 85 inches, which is really interactive whiteboarding and everything you could need. And then organizations like architects, real-time media organizations, where there is a lot of cross-collaboration with different business units, that they really do like the Webex board and what that can deliver. So you can annotate, you can build, it's got agile posties, for example, and you can also use it for digital signage around your business by adding other software layers from our ecosystem, such as AppSpace, to give the endpoints an additional value to your business. So whether that's internal marketing, campaigns, we can now use these endpoints to deliver digital signage as well. And then the last point is really from the facilities angle, all of the endpoints that we have that run the GPUs and the analytics, we can take that analytics around how many people used the room, how long the meetings were for, to feed back into facilities, and they can then begin to look, is it efficient use of space? Do we need to reduce that meeting room size down? And they really love having that analytics and data that we can pull from the endpoints in terms of usage and type of meeting to really model and design the best workspaces possible for your business moving forward. So again, as Les mentioned earlier in the call, the use cases are evolving as more of these solutions are delivered into broader areas across the business. And just to sort of elaborate on the simplicity, which is our key engineering design point. So our video endpoints are all designed in Oslo in Norway, and it comes very much like the IKEA methodology. Everything is minimalist. They take a huge amount of time to ensure the endpoints are as simple to use and as pleasing to the eye as possible, or they're invisible in some cases to the business. But when we compare ourselves to our competitors, we only have 12 points to manage. We can actually deliver a Cisco video endpoint room, which is cloud connected, within about 6 minutes, versus some of our competitors that have multiple touch points, third-party integrations, they've got different layers of software. So from a supportability and management, it's a core focus from our Webex portfolio to really allow you to manage your environments remotely as simply as possible as well. So that's just one takeaway I wanted to share. So we've talked quite a lot, or I have, and I do want to leave some time for questions. So how do Axonex and Cisco help you make this transition as the workplace environment begins to evolve very quickly? And really, Les touched on the Flex plan, and it is a brilliant way where if you're currently looking 24 months out, but you've got a Swiss renewal, we can really look at, you can sign up to a Flex plan today, whether it's on-premise or it's cloud, or you're a hybrid version. So maybe you've got Webex meetings in the cloud, you've got an on-premise call manager, all of that we can wrap in a single commercial model. And if you were looking at Cisco from a contact center perspective, that is also included within the Flex plan. All of the video connectivity is actually included free of charge as part of the Flex plan for a limited number of endpoints. So again, it's a cost that you can build back in if you're looking at Flex. And then you get Webex Teams as the connective tissue or the underlying platform as part of any Flex plan that you purchase. So we've tried to make it as simple as possible for yourself as an organization at your pace to make the correct strategic moves for your collaboration and workplace technologies that you wish to move forward with. And we do appreciate, and I'm not always a fan of Gartner, but this slide is quite a good one, I think, because when we do look at workplace, it isn't about telephony or just unified comms and video. Where are we around the networking required, the campus switching, the Wi-Fi, the security, both facility security and software security, and all the platforms that are needed to run there? We are a leading vendor across all of these quadrants. And I do come back into my first sort of statement as a slide. I think this is why Cisco are uniquely positioned with our partners to deliver amazing experiences for your organization's employees, but also to give you the flexibility to link into the business applications that you need to run your business. So we're not saying we're there to do everything, but we have expertise which will enable you to have a very strong foundation for transformation, whether that be in the workplace, but all the way as you move to multi-cloud and different workloads across your digital transformation. So with that, I will pass back to Les to see if there's any questions.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you very much for that. It's really good, and thanks for taking us through it. Just to put that out there, if anyone would like to post any questions in the Q&A, Andy and myself will be more than happy to answer them, whatever that may be, just before we start to think about wrapping up. If everyone can see the Q&A box, feel free to pop something in there. So really, really thank you for that, Andy. So leading on really from what the insights Andy's given us, I don't have any more slides, but I hope everyone found that informative and beneficial. I think not only from the technology enhancements and capabilities, but as Andy touched on, the openness, the reasoning behind it, and probably key to all this, the integrations that are available. The key takeaway for me is that Axonex and Cisco, we have a platform and portfolio that works. We've got the utopia of a single client, whether that be to call, message or meet, and as we've seen today with a really comprehensive strategy, roadmap, and particularly the features that have really been driven behind this. I have a passion for it because it works. There's a lot of customers on this call today that I use these tools with, and and we get things done as a result of that. So I'm just going to quickly look into the Q&A window at this stage and see if anything's in there, but I can't see anything at this stage.
Can I just say, Les, just if anyone would like to see more of this in action, by all means, we can do some of the demos in Cheltenham, but we welcome you in terms of in partnership with Axonex to come up to Bedfont Lakes, just near Heathrow. We have the whole suite live where you can touch, feel, press, provide use cases. We've even got guys looking at VR and collaboration to that sort of element. So if there are things that it's just sort of trickled a bit of interest, by all means push us and say, well, would it do this, or how would this work? And we do have the platforms within the UK where we can either try and build you a POC or actually show you the solutions in action, whether that be business centric or just seeing an endpoint video solution or something else in action. Then I welcome and openly offer that to anyone on the call to go and see.
Great stuff. Yeah, we have talked, haven't we, Andy, about the potential in the future of having an open morning or afternoon where we just have a session where people can just drop in openly and see this technology, at Cisco. And I think the other point you touched on there is the proof of concepts, the proof of values. There are a number of customers on today that are already taking advantage of that. And I think just to be clear to everyone, we can offer you a full proof of concept. This is initially 90 days. It includes the entire Webex product suite. So today we've primarily focused on meetings, which is probably what Webex is best known for. But that product suite also comprises Teams, which we've touched on today as a client. Webex Events, the application that we're using to host this webinar today. Webex Training and Webex Support. So it has lots of different touch points within an organisation that, as part of your collaboration strategy, may mean that there's cost savings in other parts of the business. The proof of concept is really nice and straightforward for us to set up, and we can get you some loan equipment, which lots of people have already taken advantage of, some personal equipment like the DX80, and some room-based equipment like Axonex are using today. And for me, really, it's a surefire way to see some of the business benefits and the power of that platform, but within your own environment. Oh, do we got any Q&A at this stage, Rich?
I can't see any.
Can't see any Q&A at this stage. So, I mean, yeah, just leading on for that, please reach out to myself or your Axonex account manager, and we'd be more than willing to answer any questions at any time. This event has been recorded today. We'll be following up with some further documentation, and information, and a copy of the recording afterwards. And I'd like to just wrap up by thanking you for joining, and enjoy the rest of your day if there's no Q&A at this stage. Okay, thank you, Andy. Thanks for everyone for joining, and thanks very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.